Is up, guys? This is the Football Bros podcast with episode 1. I am Adam, followed by my
I'm Dan.
co-host Daniel. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
Daniel.
And today's topic, we are going to be going through the top 10 football teams in the NFL for the 2023 season. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing good today. It's been a nice day. It's hot out, but hey, we're cool in the air conditioning doing this podcast, so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice, nice. And had a nice 3-day weekend this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yep.
Labor Day, right
Yep.
before kickoff, only a couple days away
Yeah.
until the season
Lions
starts.
Chiefs. Yeah.
Should be exciting.
hmm
All right, so why don't we just kick it off then with some honorable mentions to the top 10 list, teams that just missed out. I have a few I can start with. So people might be surprised by this, but I have the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Jaguars missing out on the top 10 list. What do you think about that, Daniel?
Well, I have the Dolphins also, but I also
Really?
have the Seahawks and the Lions also and the Giants as
Really?
honorable
Okay.
mentions. But
Okay,
I
so we
think
actually
those
have some
teams are going to be
similar.
pretty good. So,
Yeah, I think they'll be solid. In my opinion, those teams are more of wild card teams. I don't know if you think that too.
I think so too. I think the problem with the Dolphins is if Tua can stay healthy, which has been a major concern the last couple of years, but I think if he can stay fully healthy, I think the Dolphins can be a dangerous team, sneak into the playoffs, maybe win one playoff game or so.
I
So,
I completely agree. I think the durability issue with Tua is so concerning. He's like what, 6 feet tall and 210 pounds. That's just not built to last in a 17 game
I
season.
don't know. Yeah, we'll
You know.
see.
Also, I have questions about their offensive line. That's another reason why
No.
I put them in
I mean,
honorable mention.
also with Jalen Ramsey hurt, that's a big loss.
Yep,
So,
yep, that too, that too.
and
Um,
then the issues with the Lions I have is I just don't like the defense is just not good. I just don't think they're going to
mhm.
progress well, and I think that's really going to hurt them in the end. I mean, their offense is loaded. Their offense should be really good with Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is actually a really good quarterback. Like unlike some people like hate him, I just think the
Mhm.
defense is going to hold them back. I think they're going to be a good team, but not enough to win a playoff game, in my
I
opinion.
agree. I agree. I think people forget that the Lions were like last in the league for half the season last year in defense.
hmm
Um, and
Well,
I
they're
don't know. I don't know if their offense is going to be as good as they were last year. I could see some regression there. So I'm a little nervous. Also, I don't think they used the draft picks well at all to improve their team. So running back and linebacker in the first round, I don't think that helps. And then their I don't free agents. They added like Cameron Sutton at cornerback.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson too, and safety.
Yeah, but like I don't know if those guys are gonna propel the defense to be a top unit. I think
Well,
they just miss the playoffs or make wild card in my opinion.
well, I think Aiden Hutchinson will progress really well. I think he'll be a star pass rusher for them. But honestly, I think if their defense is going to be good, that's the reason that he has to progress a lot and be like a top five edge rusher in this league, which I think he's capable of. I just don't know if he's going to be it yet in just his
Hmm.
second year, but we'll see.
He has the physical ability for sure, but yeah,
Yes.
I agree. He's definitely inexperienced, so he has to put it all together.
Yes.
And then the last team that I think people will be interested in is the Jaguars. Honestly,
hmm
in my opinion, I think Trevor Lawrence is a little bit overrated. I'm
Oh,
not saying he's
okay.
bad. I think he's solid, but the turnovers concern me. People forget that he threw 4 interceptions in the first half of that Chargers game. So that makes me really nervous. And then they don't really have any other superstar. They don't have any superstars on their team. So that makes me nervous also for the Jaguars.
Yeah. And then I have the Seahawks as an honorable mention. One thing is, can Geno Smith be as good as he was last year? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's hard to be as good as he was last year. I mean, he could regress, but also I think with their improved wide receivers, the improved secondary with Devin Witherspoon, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba with as a wide receiver. Tariq Woolen should be better. I mean, they got Bobby Wagner back there again. And I think this team could be dangerous, just not quite in top 10 tier just yet.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll start with my top 10 then. At number 10 for me, I've got the Chicago Bears at the number 10 spot. People
You're crazy.
might disagree with this, including Daniel, but let's put some context behind this pick, all right, Daniel? So, last year the Bears went 3-14, right?
Yeah, they were terrible.
Okay, but let's reel back to like actually what happened during those games, okay? So first they start off 3-3, right? So they start off
3-4,
fairly-
3-4, 3-4.
Okay, 3-4. They start off 3-4. They start off pretty well. And then they trade Roquan Smith and they trade Robert Quinn. They're two best defensive players.
Robert Quinn was not that good last year, but I don't.
Okay,
I see what
well-
you're saying.
You see what I'm saying, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then we lose every game after.
Mhm.
But in the games after, our offense was putting up 30 plus points per game. And our defense
Okay.
was horrible. We lost those games by one score. There was like, I think 10 one-score losses. All right.
Okay, but I just don't think they're a top 10 team. That's just
Okay.
ridiculous. From being the worst
Okay.
team in the league to automatically being top 10 without playing a game yet, that's
Okay,
not
well-
right. That's just
Well, let me get into why I think that they're top 10. So obviously they were unlucky last year. So I think they're going to progress to at least, I think they'd at least get to 5-6 wins if they didn't make any additions. Now let's look at the additions that they did make. First of all, they get DJ Moore, a top
he's good. He's good.
15 receiver in the NFL. Now
Yeah.
Justin Fields finally has weapons. They get Darnell Wright in the draft, a great offensive tackle. He looks amazing already. I've seen a ton of videos of him. And then we get Tremaine Edmonds, a beast of a linebacker, TJ Edwards, another beast of a linebacker. Eddie Jackson's coming back healthy. We get Yannick Ngakoue. He's gotten like 9-10 sacks in the last like 5 seasons. We get Tyreek Stevenson. We overhauled this entire team. This is built.
Not enough to be a top 10 team. I will give you this. DJ Moore is good. The receivers are, the whole team is just all better. But honestly, like, I would be shocked if they make the playoffs. Honestly, like, I
Wow.
don't think they can make the playoffs.
I
I
think
think their ceiling is like 9-8. Their floor is probably like 5-12. Like, I just
wow.
don't see it.
Wow.
I do not believe in Justin Fields. Like, sure, he can run, but the way to win in this league is to pass the ball. And what he's proven these first 2 years is that he can't pass. So I just don't believe in him. I just
Okay.
don't think he's good.
Okay, but the weapons he was throwing to those first 2 seasons. Who can you name? Can you name one? Darnell Mooney. Okay, that's one.
Allen Robinson,
He was
he
horrible.
had his first. He was good though beforehand. He was good with Mitch Trubisky as quarterback.
He was terrible with
It was first
Justin
year.
Fields.
And then he had Claypool and also the offensive line. You complain about that too. It wasn't even that bad last year. The O line. It was like
I
it
don't
was
know about
probably
that.
bottom 10, but it wasn't the worst by far.
All right. All right. Well, we obviously disagree on number 10. Who do you got at number 10?
Number 10, I got the Baltimore Ravens. And even though Lamar can, has some health issues, but I think this year the Ravens are gonna be fully back and healthy. They got Save Flowers in the draft. I think that's gonna really spark Lamar's passing ability. I think this team can definitely win the division if Joe Burrow is not going to be healthy like the first 4 weeks. That's going to be a huge advantage for them. And I think that with the weapons they have with Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, I think is going to break out, and Lamar, I think this team is going to roll. And also their defense is pretty good too. So I think I'll say the Ravens go 10-7 to 11-6, I think, is my record prediction for the Ravens.
Really? I actually don't have them in my top 10. I have a couple of issues with their team. Um, First of all, I think their defensive line is very concerning to me. So that's my first worry. And then my second with the Ravens is actually they lost their offensive coordinator, and he did
Who's their
such a
offense
great.
coordinator again?
So their offensive coordinator now, I
Oh,
believe,
wait.
is Todd Monken. I think that's his name.
Okay.
Um, and then the offensive coordinator that they did have, it's on the tip of my tongue. I forget his name. I'll let you know if I
Okay.
remember it. But he had such a good offense for Lamar built around him using his running ability that I'm worried with the new scheme how Lamar is going to look. But they definitely have potential to be a great team. I will say that.
I mean, but think also their secondary is pretty good too. So they got Humphrey, they got do they still have Marcus Peters out there? I forget.
I think I think he's a free agent now. I'm pretty sure he's not
Oh,
on the team
okay,
anymore.
okay. I mean, their secondary is still good. They got Roquan and Patrick Queen at linebacker also. I mean, their defense is still really good. So
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I can see it as top 10 for sure. That also I think that their division is loaded, so I'm a little worried that they're going to lose some games in that division cuz every
yeah,
team in that division is going to be
yeah,
good, I think.
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my number 9 team, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. You kind of talked
Mm,
about them earlier, but
yes.
I just I don't really see many holes on this football team. Maybe defensive line a little bit.
Mhm.
That's definitely a hole, but I think their offense is going to be so explosive. I mean, you've got look at their receiving core. It might be the top 5, top 2 in the league maybe. DK,
Mhm.
Tyler Lockett, and Jigba. And then you got Kenneth Walker coming out of the backfield. They're going to score a lot of points. And then I think their secondary is it's got to be top 3 in the league also.
Oh, yeah, I would
I'm
agree with that.
I'm really relying on their pass defense and then their pass offense also. I
Yeah.
think that's what's going to propel this team to being top 10.
Uh, I mean, I think they're going to be good teams. Just that I just I don't know about Geno Smith. I think he was really
Mm-hmm.
good last year. I think he's going to be good again. But if he, I don't know if he's going to be as good as he was last year. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's fair. You want to go to your number 9 team?
all right. I got a number 9. I got the New York Jets, and I know a lot of people think that's kind of low for the Jets, but like I think the big concern with the Jets is there's the offensive line, and camp have been hearing that there's been a lot of issues with that, and that Rodgers has been getting hit really hard and all that. But other than that, I think this team is stacked at pretty much everywhere. Secondary loaded. You got Sauce Gardner. You got C.J. Mosley. Def defensive line. You got Quinnen Williams. Receiving core is good. Garrett Wilson. And then obviously at quarterback, you got you got Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So I think this team can easily make the playoffs and even maybe win the division.
I completely agree. I think the Jets are going to be really good this year. I mean, their defense was good enough to win games with Zach Wilson at quarterback last year.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
now they got Aaron Rodgers, and as a Bears fan, I can personally say that Aaron Rodgers is really good. He's ruined my life almost every season.
Well, we'll see about Jordan Love now. Will Jordan Love do the same?
Don't even. He better not. Um, anyways, yeah, I do agree. Also, the offensive line worries me, but I think Aaron Rodgers, he's good enough to overcome that, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so we're on number 8, right?
Yep.
All right, so number 8, this is going to be surprising to some people. I have the Buffalo Bills.
Mm.
I think most people will have them a lot higher, but I see a lot of problems with this team. What do you agree?
I think they're gonna. I don't think there's gonna be like a Super Bowl. I don't think they're gonna win the AFC, but I think 8 is still too low for them. I think at lowest they could probably be 7, but like
The
no,
thing
I
that
just
really
don't agree with that.
what really concerns me is their offensive line and their defense. Honestly, they're
Their
very
defense was
old,
good.
but they're very old, and they've lost some people. That's what really concerns me. Like
I
if you
mean,
just look at their
er,
secondary, they've got Micah Hyde and Demarius, or no, not Demarius Randall. What am I talking
Jordan
about?
Poyer.
Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. I was mixing up the old Packers safety
Uh,
duo.
uh,
Um, so those guys are like 30 plus years old. They're due for regression, and then their offensive line really concerns me. So that's my big gripe with them, and I actually have them coming in second to the Jets in that
mm.
division.
Um, I just, I mean, you're Mr. Davius White on that team, and they still got Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau.
They
I mean,
lost
they still
Tremaine
have
Edmonds
young
though.
players.
That's a
I mean,
big loss.
I think he's easily replaceable in my opinion for them.
Really.
He was a big loss, but I mean, think about this offense though. They still got Josh Allen, they still got Stephon Diggs, they still got Gabe Davis out there. They still got weapons everywhere. I think James Cook could be good enough that they can use him in the running game and that they can actually run the ball now. So
That also worries me. I think James Cook, I think he's a little overrated for what people are saying, in my
mm,
opinion. I just don't really see it with him. So that's another,
mm,
I think they're going to be reliant on Josh Allen so much, and that worries me.
mm.
All right. So who's your number 8 team?
Oh, hold on.
All right. We'll just have to edit that out. All right. So who's your number 8 team?
Okay, my number 8 team, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I think what the Chargers' problem is if they can stay healthy. Their D line, their defense last year was just torn up with injuries. But I think this year, if they can stay healthy, I think they've got a good shot of winning a couple, maybe one playoff game this year. I think Herbert is definitely going to progress even more as a passer. And this team should be really good again. So I have to put them in the top 10.
I agree. I actually have them higher than where you have them, but I mean they're loaded. Honestly, it is just staying healthy. Honestly, because if you just every level of their offense and defense has stars on them. I mean, they just got
Yeah.
Eric Kendricks from the Vikings. He's still a good player.
Yeah.
They got Joey Bosa, Khalil
He's
Mack. Like
aging though,
that's
so
that's true. He is aging, but he's not. He's still a good player, I think. So, um, I mean, they're just Derwin, like J.C. Jackson. I think he had a bad start to last year.
yeah.
I think he's due to come back again. So I agree. I think they're going to be very good this year.
Uh-huh.
So number 7 for me is the
Uh-huh.
San Francisco 49ers.
I don't agree with that. They should be higher.
Really. What I'm really concerned about with them is their depth, honestly. Um, if people get injured, they and the 49ers, they seem to get injured a lot. Who are their backups? Like they're if Trent, let's say Trent Williams goes down, that offensive line might be the worst in the NFL. So that really, really, really scares me. And then Brock Purdy, I like him. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback, but can he do what he did last year? I don't know about that. That worries me. I do got to say though, their defense is stacked, so their defense will win them a lot of games. That's why they're still in the top 10 for me. But I couldn't put them higher than 7.
Okay. I disagree with that, but I'll say that later. Number 7, I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, people might say that's too high, but I think Trevor Lawrence that this year, I think he's going to be an MVP type player. I think he's that talented and gifted, and the way that he showed last year of how much he progressed, and also they brought in Calvin Ridley to give him another weapon. I think Calvin Ridley's gonna break out as a wide receiver 1 for them. No, we'll see what happens with Trayvon Walker, but I think he can progress too at defense, and I think this team in a weak division should win the division pretty easily. And I think the Jaguars are due for a big leap this year.
I understand why people would think that. Like I said before, I'm just really worried about their lack of star talent because I just don't really see much of it in them. But I did mention that earlier, so we can move on to the next team.
Uh,
Um, so for number 6, I have the Jets, Jets. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what can I say? As a Bears fan, he's torn my heart out pretty much every single time we've played him. That's all I really have to say. He's gonna with that defense and Garrett Wilson at receiver, he's gonna make them a top 10 team, I think. Pretty easily, in my opinion.
okay. Okay. Next team I got the Dallas Cowboys, and people, if you hate them, I don't like them. People hate them, but let's be honest, they're a good team. They're just good everywhere. Receivers, offensive line is good, defense is really good. It's just that Dak can he stay consistent enough? Can he not throw interceptions? I mean, I would put him higher. It's just that if Dak can't do it in the playoffs, I can't put him higher than this. Like until I see it from him, I can put him in the top 5. It's just that I'll have to see it in the playoffs first. But I think they're still going to be really good, and they could win. I think they have a chance, definitely have a good chance of winning the NFC East. But I just think the Eagles are just too good for them. But I think the Cowboys are still going to be a top 10 team this year. They should still be loaded.
Yeah, I agree. They are loaded at like every position. I mean, their defense is going to be insane with Micah. Have a great offensive line. I
Uh,
can honestly, I completely agree with what you said. I think Dak. It really all relies on Dak. Will he make the leap? Is he a franchise quarterback? I don't know. I think in the NFC, he's good enough to at least make the championship game. We'll see what happens after
I
that.
agree. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like the Cowboys a lot this year as well.
Mhm.
So for number 5 for me, I have the Chargers, which you mentioned earlier. Like I
Yes.
said, I just think they have talent all over the field, star talent, almost every position. I mean, you've got an insane receiving core, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson, the beast of a
Oh yeah,
rookie.
that's right.
Yeah, and you've got Justin Herbert. I think one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. People like to get on him because of the Jaguars game, but he's
That wasn't
still.
his fault.
I
That
agree.
was just the defense.
I agree. He could have done better in that game for sure, but you can't put that game on. Yeah, and the Chargers receiving core is just stacked. They've got the new rookie Quentin Johnson alongside Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Uh, Austin Eckler is back too. He's a part of that receiver core, one of the best receiving backs in the game. I do. I don't really like his running style, honestly, very much, but their passing attack is going to be stacked. Justin Herbert is great, and the Chargers. I think they're going to bounce back well as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah. Number 5, I have the Buffalo Bills. Now, I think they're still going to be really good this year, but I think there's a chance that they take a step back and maybe be disappointed. But I mean, overall, they still got Josh Allen. They still got good receivers. They still got Stephon Diggs. Their defense is still loaded. They got Russo, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Ed Oliver, Matt Milano. I mean, that's just a really good defense right there. And I still think they're the best team in the AFC East and are the team to beat in the AFC East.
I do think they are the team to beat just because they've proven it more. But and I think they'll probably have a stronger start to the season than like the Jets or who else is in the AFC East,
Dolphins and
or the
Patriots.
Dolphins and Patriots. I think they'll have the strongest start to those teams
Yeah.
than those teams, but I'm really concerned about their depth and their age. I think injuries are going to catch up to them near the end of the season, and I think they're going to have a disappointing season compared to expectations, at least.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
and then number 4 for me, the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm,
We talked about them a little earlier, but like you said, I mean they're just stacked at every position, and especially in a weak NFC, I think they're going to dominate. They're going to have a really really good record. It's going to be them and the Eagles that I believe are going to be just running the table in the NFC, and I don't really see any team other than the Eagles that can stop them. I think it's okay. I don't want to say guarantee because nothing's a guarantee in the NFL. But in my opinion, I think the best odds for NFC Championship would be Eagles versus Cowboys because
okay.
they just have the most complete rosters.
I disagree with you there, but at number 4, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, they have shown that they've been a very good team in the past. Now that the one thing that does scare me is that if Joe Burrow's health, that he's going to be out. I think how long is it? For 4 weeks? He's going to be out.
I think it could be 4 weeks. He's going to be out for a little bit though. I did hear that he
And
was practicing again, so he might come back
okay,
earlier than you think.
okay, but
Um,
if that does happen, I think that could definitely um like play an impact in them winning the division and or them getting the first round bye in the playoffs. But overall, I mean, Joe Burrow is just he's proven that he's a clutch QB that he could win when it matters most. And I think there's a good chance this is the year that they can take it all the way and win the Lombardi. So
I agree. I think the Bengals are. I mean, the Bengals are my number 3 team. So I think the Bengals are just very complete. And we all know in the NFL, elite quarterbacks is what wins championships and wins games.
uh,
And he is an elite quarterback. I mean, he's no Mahomes, but he's a tier below, and he's still just an amazing conductor of the team.
yeah,
He'll have that team humming. I mean, their receiver core is stacked.
yeah,
He might throw for 5,000 yards this year. I really think
yeah.
that's possible. And then their defense is still really good too. I am a little worried though about them losing Jesse Bates because he was a great safety
Oh
for the
yeah, that's right.
Bengals. But overall, their team is still more than good enough, in my opinion, to be the class of the AFC or second best in the AFC, I should say.
Mm, all right.
And who is your number three
Are we,
team?
oh, didn't you pick number 3? Who's your number 3 team?
It was the Bengals.
Oh, it was the Bang? Oh, you picked the
Yeah.
Bengals. Okay.
Hmm.
So my number 3 team, I got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know people will say, "Well, who's their quarterback?" And I will say that I think Brock Purdy is well good enough. I think he's good enough to take this team to the Super Bowl. I mean, look at everywhere off, even though their offensive line could take a step back. I mean, overall, the receivers, they still got Debo, they still got Ayuk, they still got CMC, and also their defense is loaded with Bosa, Armstead, um, Bosa, Armstead, Fred Warner. I mean, this team is still stacked, and even if Purdy like doesn't play like at an like elite level, which could happen, this team could still is probably going to win like 12 to 13 games. I mean, worst case scenario, they'll probably win 10 if Purdy's like takes a really step back. But overall, I trust Purdy to lead this offense and their defense to do well, and they get the job done and get the number um could definitely get the number one seed in the NFC and go to the Super Bowl.
Are you worried at all about their depth and possibility of injuries?
No, not really. I mean, last year they were pretty much fully healthy. I mean, I mean, think about it though. Last year they were had like no quarterbacks on their roster, and they still won 13 games. Like they lost three quarterbacks during the entire year.
That's true. That is true. I mean, I'll give Kyle Shanahan his props. He is an amazing coach. He's probably the best offensive coach. He's so good at adapting to his players. So, I mean, that's why I still have them in my top 10. Number 7 for me is still really good. Um, the one thing I have noticed the last couple of years, the 49ers do start out a little slow. So I don't think it'll be a problem this year, but that is one thing to note. Really just depth is what concerns me for them.
Right.
So for number 2, I mean, our top 2 have to be the same. We know the 2 teams that are in the top 2.
Yeah.
Do you wanna just say which team you have at number 2?
Yeah, I got the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
And
me
the
too.
reason why I have the Eagles over the 49ers is just because I just like just with Jalen Hurts, I think just that he's just the better, like they have the better quarterback. No knock on Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy should be pretty good. Just that Jalen Hurts is just playing at an elite level, and I just overall I think roster wise the Eagles are just a tiny bit better. Um, overall, I just think the advantage comes down to their quarterback, and I think that's probably what gets them to win the NFC again, repeat. So
Yeah, I think the Eagles have the most complete roster in the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, there's no holes on the entire team. Um, I mean, they have the best offensive line, maybe the best defensive line. That's debatable. Secondary is loaded. Like, honestly, every part of the team is amazing. And yeah, I don't see them getting overtaken by any other NFC team this
yeah.
year. Um, they're just so good, like you said.
Mhm. And then at number one, you'll know who it is. We got to go with the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, we have to put them at number one because who can beat Patrick Mahomes right now? I mean, he's
No
just
one.
like God level. Like, unless another team beats, like, proves that they can top them, I can't put them anywhere else but number one. They're just too good. They're like in a class of their own of every single team.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't compare any other team to them. They're just that good.
Every game, every year, Patrick Mahomes continues to defy the odds and get even better every year. It amazes me. He's just so amazing. Like, he's probably going to be the next Tom Brady, in my opinion. Like, he might win
That's
six
gonna be
Super
hard.
Bowls. It's
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 gonna be
definitely
hard.
hard, but man, he has the talent. There's no one even close to him. I don't think. And I mean, this roster is still really good, but their roster is not as good as, like, in my opinion, the Eagles,
Or the Niners, but
Cowboys, Bengals, but their quarterback is so much better than any
uh-huh.
other team. It makes up for it, and
Yeah.
the connection between him and Kelsey, it's the
Uh,
best. It's the best connection in the NFL. They're going to put up a ton of
yeah.
points.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally agree.
although Chris Jones holding out worries me a little bit because he could have been defensive player of the year last year. So
Mhm,
we'll see how that ends up.
mhm.
But even without him, they're still amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree.
um, all right. So that's our top 10 list. Let us know what you think in the comments. Who did we have right? Who did we have wrong? Please like and subscribe. Until next time, this is the Football Bros.
All right,
Peace.
bye. See.